Greetings. I decided it was time to offer some ideas on how to get your life back into focus. You know, how to calm your life down. Man, I think that any of you who've seen what's been going on with me the last couple of months understand I really need some ways to calm my life down. And I've been doing some of these things. Actually, I was doing some of these things when it seemed like overall life was really stressful and I wasn't going to have any control over anything. And yet, once I started to get ready to have some control and bring some of my life back, I started doing some of these things. And I gotta admit that they have helped. I am a lot better now than I was 5 weeks ago. And heck, I'm a lot better than I've been the last 2 months. Not perfect, but I'm doing really well. And these 5 things have helped me. So I figured I would share these ideas with you and see if maybe there's something here that you can put into your life. So here's the first one. The first one is to listen to music that helps calm you down. Now, we all have different music that we like to listen to, and some people can listen to hard rock, if that's even still a thing. I don't know what they call it today, but some people can listen to that and they need that kind of screaming or whatever, and it makes them feel better. If they're depressed, that helps lift them. Some listen to dance music, some listen to rap. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's just all kinds of things out there. For me, what helped calm me down, believe it or not, are soundtracks. So I started listening to a lot of soundtracks. Now, classical music is usually the thing I go to when I just need some relaxation. But in this particular instance, I went to soundtracks, which is almost the same thing. For instance, I had put together a playlist of every piece of music from the Harry Potter movie series. And it was all in one playlist. And I made sure to change the order so that it was the exact same order that it was in the movies, because for some stupid reason, some of the people who put those things out decided the songs didn't need to be in order. Please. That's idiotic. Anyway, so I put all those in order. And man, that was comforting. I could drive all over the place listening to that. I could sit here at the desk and do that. When I was walking around the house, I could listen to that. When I would go to bed and I had trouble falling asleep, I could listen to that. That worked out well, but that's not the only one. For instance, I have the soundtrack to How to Train Your Dragon, the first movie. I had the soundtrack to both of the Infinity War and Endgame. I had those soundtracks. I had soundtracks to Armageddon. That's a pretty cool soundtrack, by the way. I had the soundtrack to Independence Day. And I had some goofier things. Actually, that's probably not fair. I have the Frozen soundtrack, the first movie. I don't have the one for the second movie. I'm going to have to get that. But there's some early Disney movies that I have the soundtrack for that I'd probably say, yeah, I don't think so. And I also have the soundtrack to Phantom of the Opera, but that had a lot of singing. And that just wasn't going to get it. I just needed regular music. I didn't want any singing. Now, when I had those brief moments where I wanted something more uplifting or energetic, then I went to Michael Jackson or Jackson 5 or Janet Jackson. I went to the Jackson family because, Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, my favorite since 1969, still my favorites, even though Janet's probably the only one still putting out new music. But, that is one of those kind of things. The phrase goes, music heals the savage breast. I think if you can find something that will help you to find your own self back, that works out really well. That turns out to be true. So that's the first one. The second one is to eat and drink things that bring you peace. So basically from the time, I'll say the last week, actually it was just before the last week of July, probably around the beginning of July, I started going to a comfort food that I had never necessarily thought of before. But basically it was McDonald's fish sandwiches and small fries and sweet tea. Now the thing is, I could make my own tea, and that was working out really well also. But when I bought the fish sandwich and the small fries and the sweet tea, it was just comfort food. And for a while there, I was basically only eating one meal a day, which was that. I had a slight deviation every once in a while, and I might have bought a 6-piece McNugget, but most of the time it was fish sandwiches. I was eating that 5 days a week for pretty close to 8 weeks. I just started to wean myself off of the fish sandwich over the last couple of weeks. It's hard to get over those fries. I'm not going to lie. If you need something really quick, if I'm heading into the city for whatever, McDonald's is a minute and a half away, if that. So I stop over and I'll get a small fry, but I don't get a sweet tea. I only get a sweet tea when I get a full meal. So I get a small soda. But boy, that really worked wonders. And I ate tons of dessert. I'm not, what are you going to say? However, I walked a bunch and I made sure I took all my medication, so I never had any highs. Like I said, I was only eating one meal a day, and I stayed way under my calories. I used my Fitness Pal to help me plan my meals or track my meals. So I lost a bunch of weight, but that has helped. So I did that. Like I said, I made my own tea at home. I switched between Earl Grey. I can't even remember who makes it Earl Grey, but the Lipton tea, the Orange Pekoe. So I love those two. I also bought a couple of other fancy teas that weren't bad. A couple were horrible. Some others were okay. But I have found that herbal teas, I need to use like 3 or 4 bags just so I can taste it. That's no good. But for some of y'all who have more sensitive palates and you can handle those light almost teas, yeah, I said it. Do something like that. Now, I am going to add this. If you're going to sit down and drink a whole bunch of beer or a whole bunch of liquor, that's probably not what we're looking to do. We're looking to change your mind without, changing your mind. You know what I'm saying? Getting drunk all the time is not going to help you. Matter of fact, from what I understand from reading all these years and from seeing a lot of drunks, a lot more people get depressed the more alcohol that you drink. I'm just talking about during those times where you're looking to try to regain some sense of yourself, a little bit of happiness. I don't care if maybe you go out with your friends later on and you're doing those kinds of things and whatever. Doesn't affect me. However, I think that when you're looking for that period of calm, it's easier to find something else that will help you. That's my theory. Y'all let me know. Because like I said, I've never had a drink in my life. The number 3 thing is open up to others. I thought about putting this as the last thing, but truthfully, I want to end the last thing on something a little better. So I'm talking about opening up to others. And that's a weird one because I was basically super private for a long time. I had a couple of friends who I could, tell everything to, but not really everything. As a matter of fact, I had one friend where I could tell certain things to. I had another friend where I could tell certain things to, but I never told them the same things. But over the course of time, I started sharing a little bit of stories about my mother on on a Facebook group for dementia, and then just with friends. I didn't put up a whole bunch. I would take pictures of mom and I would share those. And, it was amazing that people really responded to that. And I'm just going to throw this out there. This is the only depressing thing, but it shouldn't be overly depressing. It never occurred to me that there were so many people who were invested in the stories that I was telling about my relationship with my mother while she was, not as bad as she got. And then when she got bad, and then when she passed away. And I was just blown away by how many people reached out to me. And I never saw that coming. And it's because I opened up to other people. I didn't think that anybody really cared. I don't know why. It's just how I felt. And you will find out that if you have a couple of confidants, or if you can put something somewhere on Facebook, and I didn't put a whole dissertation or whatever, people will, they come to you and they will try to help out. And I'm glad that I did that. The same thing happened with people who I'm not connected to on Facebook. I happened to mention to a few people on the smartphone, people I'm connected to on the mobile. And I just didn't see that coming. So it doesn't hurt to open up to others. Now, I will say this. Make sure that they're people you trust. And I'm one of those people on Facebook. I'm not connected to anybody, maybe 2 people, I think, who disagree with me on a whole bunch of things. And even those are pretty nice people I've known for a good long time. So it helped. And I'm connected to a lot of family members on Facebook, only on Facebook. So that works out. If you can find those few people, or maybe it's more than one person, or, a bunch of people, it doesn't hurt to reach out. You don't have to tell everything, but you can, find people who will offer support to you. That's been very helpful for me. Could be helpful to you. And guys, let me tell you, we don't have to be that strong silent type anymore. That's how I led most of my life. And these last 4 years, 5 years, my goodness, with Mom have shown me that I don't have to keep everything in. I also don't have to tell everything. So that's two things. Number 4, get out of the house and go places that help distract you. So in my last video, I mentioned this thing where I had this internal body clock that every Friday since Mom passed, at the time, around the time that she actually passed, I would have this anxiety attack. And I was not necessarily looking at my watch either. It was just all of a sudden it would come on. And it was freaking me out every single Friday. And I said, I got to get over that. So I decided to go to the casino yesterday to play some poker. And, not yesterday, Friday. I went to the casino. And I guess that was yesterday. I forgot I'm shooting this on Saturday, so it'll go live Sunday. Anyhow, I went later in the afternoon. I used to go like 11 o'clock in the morning and, stay for a few hours and leave. But this time I had a specific goal in mind. So I didn't get to the casino till around 4:30. And it took me about half an hour before I got to a table. So I got to the table. And now I'm concentrating mainly on poker. And one of the things about playing poker that a lot of people don't understand is that if you've got a good table, it doesn't necessarily talk about how people play, but it's how people interact. And there was this one guy next to me on the right. He was just interacting with me really well. We were just having a good time. There was a young guy on my left, and I was, coaching him on a few life things, not poker things, but life things. And then other people had stories. You always have, older guys, or at this point now, a lot of guys my age, who tell poker stories. And I also had a royal flush, the second royal flush I've ever had playing poker. 2. That's a shame. But that was kind of fun. Now here's the thing. For a brief moment, I had a very, very slight bit of anxiety. And I looked at my watch and it was like 6:13. But that was it. Then it was like back to poker. I had other stuff to concentrate on. And the next time I looked, it was 10 minutes to 7. I said, okay, that distraction worked. So that does kind of work. Maybe you want to go out to a restaurant somewhere. That didn't work for me last week, but you have that. The day after Mom passed, I drove to Oswego, New York, which is about 35 minutes away, and that's where I went to college. So I could go by the lake and just walk and listen to the waves, because it's on the shore of Lake Ontario. And that kind of thing really helped to calm me down. A lot of times I go right to the lake here. I'm a mile and a half away from Onondaga Lake. And so I go there and I walk, and it's not tons of people. So that works out pretty well also. So if you have a way to kind of get to somewhere else where you can kind of relax this a little bit, that works out kind of well. So there you go. Now here's the last one. And this is going to seem really strange to some of y'all, but to the rest of y'all, you're going to understand this because you know me. I needed to basically start loading up on the thing that brings me the most comfort. And the thing that brings me the most comfort is the color red. Look, my wall is red. My curtain is red. Red, this is my thing. So I started buying a whole lot of things that were red. And I started this back in April, I think. And it's weird how that kind of thing works. So I wanted to show you some of the things. For instance, I bought a red iron. How many of y'all own a red iron? I bet you don't. I bought red tape. Actually, this is my second one. My first one was Gorilla Tape. This is 3M. But a big, thick red tape that I haven't used yet. I bought a red staple remover. I bought red charging cords for my smartphone. My smartphone already has a red case on it, so I don't need to show you that. However, I also got a red thing that I put my phone in when I'm charging it. Tell me that's not weird. I always used to buy red sneakers, and then it turned out that they weren't the right sneakers for me, so I decided I can get a different color, mainly black, but I went out and bought a whole bunch of red shoelaces. So I'm covered on that. I like to light candles. So I bought 2 red lighters. I bought a red, what do you even call these things? Speaker, wireless speaker. And I bought a better one than the ones I've been buying because I had trouble hearing them. So I bought this sucker. It cost me $120, but it works great. So there's that. Then I had this red journal. When Mom came home from the nursing home, I started writing down everything that I was doing for her every single day. And I bought a red journal because, of course I did. This is my gratitude journal. It's red. Now, shirts. Some are folded, some aren't. The ones that aren't are going to be washed, but I brought them out for this one here. Red shirt, Black Lives Matter. Red shirt, love wins. Red shirt, I'm not opening it all the way up, but it's a Snoopy shirt. If I can get this thing to show up right. Snoopy shirt, red. That goes well with my other red Snoopy shirt. Red shirt, Gryffindor, which a friend of mine bought when he went down to Orlando, and he bought me that. He also bought me this red hat from Cooperstown, you know, the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. So he bought me that. Then I bought 2 red spatulas. This is the big one. This is the smaller one. Red spatulas. Okay. I needed some vice grips. I had lost vice grips, had no idea where they were, decided to go buy vice grips. Red. And I put the red tape on it because I had to install a new shower head, and the instructions said put tape around the ends so that you don't cut into them. So I took my red tape, like I said, the other one, and I stripped it, but there you go. I bought these 2 red knives. And you know what? I'm scared of both of them. Last week I made something, and then I cut myself with one of them, and then someone gave me an apple. My physical therapist gave me an apple, trying to tell me that freshly picked apples would taste better. So I used the other knife, and I slightly cut my finger. And both times I didn't realize I cut my finger until about an hour later because I didn't bleed. It's just all of a sudden I grabbed something and I felt the pain. Still, red knives. I bought a red portable phone charger, and this thing works wonderfully. So there you go. Okay. It charges slowly, so you're not going to get fast charging, but it will charge your phone. It also has a little flashlight on the end, and you know, if you just need to take something with you, then you do it. And the final thing I'm going to show you is masks. I have a friend named Mel who makes masks because I'm still wearing my mask for COVID, even though I've had the booster shot and the other 2 shots. So this is the first one she made for me, which is pure red. And then she made me this one, which is red. It's like a camo red, but it's red on the inside. And then we have this red one. It says Gryffindor on it. Yeah, Harry Potter thing again. So we got that. And then we got this one, which is a Wonder Woman, which I haven't worn yet. But I have this Wonder Woman, which I have worn. And then I got this red one, which I haven't done yet. And I got one more here. Actually, I guess I don't have the other one. But you can't have everything red. So I got the Minions, which is orange. Anyway, I've loaded up on a bunch of red stuff. I have some other red stuff that I decided I'm not bringing those in here. For instance, I bought some towels. They were red. I bought myself a comforter for my bed. That's red. I have 2 sets of red sheets. I have other colors also, but I just have, you know, a whole bunch of other red stuff. It's just one of those kind of things that it makes me feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. Whether it's something you wear or, well, heck, look at my Fitbit thing. It's red. But I've had this for about a year and a half, so I don't think that necessarily counts as me buying something now. But it's still red. Look, can you see this? My chair is red. I have a chair over here that's red. I got a Snoopy over here that's got red on it. And in my earlier videos, I had a red stapler that was back here. Nothing wrong with surrounding yourself with things like that if they all help to make you feel better. That's what I have. I hope this hasn't been too super long. I hope that maybe I've at least given you some kind of ideas on ways that you can find to get your mind calm and to help you relax and help you look for some positives in your life again. Because, you know, I'm trying to help. Isn't that nice of me? Anyway, hope y'all have a wonderful day and let me know your thoughts. You take care.